Hello and welcome to the season finale of Forged from the Ashes. This, this has actually been a very wonderful experience, kind of a scary one as well, kind of to air my life to the entire world, but uh, able to get a lot of stuff off of my chest in the same token. Uh, and, you know, I've been so excited, and I just want to thank everybody that has supported me. I want to thank you, everybody out there that has listened to this. If you've listened to an episode or if you've listened to any of the shorts that are out there, I want to say thank you. I want to say thank you to every single person out there. I'm truly blessed and truly grateful for everyone. And I've got season 2 is coming out, and stay tuned to the end of this episode, and I will let you know when season 2, episode 1 will drop. For right now, though, let's begin episode 10, titled Forged from the Ashes. So, kind of want to start off, but there's this idea that I've heard kind of running around out there that recovery is the finish line. That one day you wake up and everything just clicks and your life just moves forward. Clean, clear, fixed. And that's what I thought the first time I went through treatment, through rehab. I thought, that's it. I'm done. I graduated. I'm cured. But that's not what this is. This isn't a finish line. This is where it starts, because everything I've talked about up to this point, the addiction, the damage, the relationships, the mistakes, that didn't just disappear. That became my foundation. And it's kind of a hard thing to understand at first, because you don't want your worst moments to be the thing that shapes your future. But the truth, is if you face them the right way, they don't define you. They forge you. And that's what this episode is about. Not where I've arrived, but where I'm going. Because recovery, for me, it didn't just mean stopping, it meant rebuilding. It meant taking everything I had been through and deciding it wasn't going to be for nothing. And somewhere in that process, something shifted, not overnight, not all at once, but enough to start asking a different question. Not, why did all of this happen to me, but what am I supposed to do with it? And that question changed everything. In part, I started realizing that all of the pain, the mistakes, and the damage could either stay exactly where it was, or it could become something more. And that's when I started looking at a different path. And another question that arose during my treatment, there's a wonderful recovery coach named Shannon at You Are Accountable that inspired me to do this. She had said to me one time, you got a good voice. You got to do podcast. And that's when my wheels kind of started turning. And I thought, all of this, all of everything that I had gone through, I could tell my story. And it was amazing because it was almost like instantly I could feel the change happening inside, and it made me feel better about myself. And with some hard work and some dedicated help with my wife, I started telling my story. And, then that's when I started looking at the different path. And I realized that this path, it didn't just involve me staying sober, but it involved me helping other people do the same, not from a place of theory, but from experience, from actually living it, from knowing what it feels like to be at the bottom and knowing what it takes to start climbing out. And that's what led me to another little step. I became a certified sobriety life coach, not because I had everything figured out, by no means, but because I knew what it felt like not to. And I knew there were people out there sitting exactly where I had been, and if I could reach even one of them and help them see a way forward, then everything I went through meant something. And it didn't stop there. No, I wanted to understand it deeper, not just my experience, but the way behind it, the mental health, the trauma, the patterns, the behavior, all of it. And that's what pushed me to go back to school to pursue my degree in psychology with a focus on addiction. Because I don't just want to talk about this anymore. I want to understand it. I want to meet people where they are, equipped with both real experience and solid knowledge. This isn't just a story anymore. This is purpose. And I believe that everything I went through, as hard and damaging as it was, led me here, right here, this one single point in my life right now. Not to erase it, but to use it, to build something out of it, to help someone else who is still in it. And if there's one thing I know for sure, it's that nobody wakes up one day and decides, hey, fuck it, I'm going to destroy my life. It happens slowly, quietly. And before you know it, you're in a place you never thought you'd be. If somebody had reached out to me earlier, if someone had connected with me in a way I could actually hear, maybe things would have been different. And that's why I'm doing this. I want to be that voice for someone else. Not perfect, not finished, but real and willing to meet people exactly where they're at, where they are. Because that's where the change actually starts. When I started down this path, I didn't have a perfect system. I didn't have a script. I didn't have a checklist. I definitely didn't have all of the answers. But what I had was real experience, the kind you can't fake, the kind you can't learn, kind you can't get from a book. It's the kind that comes from actually living in it. And I realized pretty quickly that people don't need someone to talk at them. They don't need another lecture or another list of things they're supposed to be doing. Most of the time, they already know what they should be doing. What they don't have is someone who understands where they actually are. And that's where I come in. I don't meet people at the version of themselves they're trying to become. I meet them exactly where they are, whether that's at rock bottom, somewhere in the middle, or somebody just questioning if something needs to change. Because I know the space, the one where you wake up and you don't recognize the face in the mirror. Where you promise today is different, only to watch the same sun set on the same mistakes. I know the silence of not even trusting your own thoughts anymore. And when someone realizes that you actually understand that, something starts to shift. The walls will start coming down. The defenses drop. And for the first time, they feel like they can be honest. Not the polished version, not the version they tell everyone else, but the real version. And that's where the work actually starts. Because you can't change something you're not willing to. And you got to be honest. And honesty is uncomfortable. And it's messy. And it forces you to look at things you've been avoiding, minimizing, or justifying. But it's also where clarity comes from. And once you have clarity, you can start making different decisions, not perfect ones, and definitely not easy ones, but at least better ones. And that's how I approach this, not as someone who is above it or who has it all figured out, but as someone who walked through it and is still walking through it. Because recovery doesn't make you perfect, just makes you aware. And awareness changes everything. It changes how you think, how you respond, how you see yourself, and what you're willing to accept from yourself. And when that starts to shift, your life starts to shift with it. I focus on understanding the behavior and looking at patterns and triggers and the thoughts that keep people stuck in the same cycles. Because if you don't understand why you're doing something, you're going to keep going back to it. And speaking from experience, I was exactly that way. I didn't understand it, so why not? But once people see that, they start realizing something. They aren't broken. Broken is a permanent state. It's a discarded tool. They're just stuck. And being stuck is a temporary condition that only requires a change in leverage to fix. Now, change doesn't happen all at once. It happens in small decisions, small shifts, and moments where you choose something different than before. Those moments build and they stack, and over time, they turn into something real. That's what this is for me. Not about being perfect, but about showing up, being honest, doing the work, and helping other people do the same. And if there's one thing I've learned, it's that change doesn't come from hitting rock bottom. It comes from what you do after. Rock bottom is just a moment. What matters is what you build from it. For a long time, I stayed stuck in guilt and shame, regret. But at some point, you have to make a decision not to forget it or erase it, but to use it, to take everything that broke you and build something out of it. And this isn't a clean story. It's a process. It's a process I'm still in, and one I will probably always be in, because this isn't something you finish. This is something you continue every day in the choices you make, the way you show up, the way you treat others, and the way you treat yourself. So if you're listening to this and you're in it right now, whether at the bottom, the middle, or just questioning things, I want you to understand something. You're not stuck forever. It might feel like it, but it is not permanent. You don't need a perfect plan. You just need to be honest enough to take the first step and then the next. And if you're trying to help someone you love who's going through it, don't underestimate how much your presence matters. Sometimes the things that matter most aren't understood in the moment. They're understood later when everything finally slows and becomes clearer. For me, that's what this is all led to. Not an ending, but a direction, a purpose, something I can build on and give back. Because everything I went through wasn't for nothing. And if sharing it and being raw helps even one person take a step in a different direction, then it was all worth it. All of it. Because you don't have to have all of the answers. Just don't give up on yourself. And remember, we rise, we recover, and we reignite hope together. So let's take this first step. Because the next time we stop talking about the fire and we start talking about the build. Season 2 drops 2 weeks. I'll see you at the starting line. And remember, be kind to one another. Love you guys.